Mr. Nyck, Mr. Nyck, he's our pick. It's Mr. Nyck. Yay!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Mr. Nyck Show, and I'm your host, Mr. Nyck. Today, we are going to be talking about all different types of air transportation. What does that mean? That means we're going to be talking about different types of vehicles that can get you from one place to another in the air. First, let's talk about an airplane. Have you ever been on an airplane? I would say an airplane is the most popular type of air transportation. That's how most people get from one place to another in the air. This is a commercial airplane, and this is what most people travel on when they go on an airplane. But there are other types of airplanes too, like this one. This is an airplane that people can do tricks in and go, whoa, whoa, loop-de-loops and swirly-doos and all kinds of tricks in this type of an airplane. Would you ever want to be in an airplane that was doing tricks and flips and going upside down? I don't know. Could be a little scary, but maybe a little fun. Now, an airplane uses engines and wings in order to fly. But this next mode of transportation we're going to look at doesn't have an engine or wings. It's a hot air balloon. A hot air balloon is a large basket attached to a gigantic balloon. And they use a flame to produce heat to blow up the balloon. And then the balloon, because of the heat, starts to go up into the air. That's crazy. No engine, just heat in a balloon, and you're sitting in a basket? I've done it before. It was fun until we had to land. That was a little scary. But a hot air balloon is also a way that you can get from one place to another in the air. And you know what's pretty crazy is that there's no engine, there's no wings, there's no propeller. So how do you get from one place to the other? The wind blows you from one place to the other. So you really don't have a lot of control of where you're going in a hot air balloon, except for up and down. But other than that, it's wherever the wind wants to take you. Pretty fun, pretty crazy. Next, let's talk about something that does have an engine. A very strong, large, powerful engine. A rocket! Or we could also call it a spaceship. That gets you from one place to the other in the air, from the ground, all the way up to outer space. Yeah, they go straight up all the way to outer space. Pretty amazing if you ask me. Really strong rocket engine. 3, 2, 1, blast off! Did you see any of the Mr. Nyck episodes that we did about outer space? We talked about the sun and the moon and all the planets. Yeah, that's how astronauts get to outer space, is on a rocket or a spaceship. The next mode of air transportation I want to talk about is a helicopter. A helicopter uses a propeller on the top to make it go up and down, and it has a propeller or a rotor in the back to control it going side to side, rotating. And it has an engine as well to make it go forward. But you know what's really cool about a helicopter? They can go backwards, they can go forward, they can go side to side and up and down. Pretty neat. Now sometimes people can use helicopters to get from one place to another for travel, but a lot of times helicopters can be used by the news, right? If they want to go over the freeways and take a look at the traffic that day, or maybe firefighters if they want to bring water to forest fires to drop on the fires and the trees. And police can use helicopters too when trying to find bad guys. Helicopters have a lot of great uses. Next, let's take a look at a paraglider. What is going on with this? There's wings, but there's no engine. There's not even really a thing. You're just strapped to that. What is going on? Well, you can go to the top of a mountain, or maybe, I guess, out of some sort of airplane, and you just jump. And this will help glide you slowly, safely, hopefully, gently, down to the ground. But there's no engine. So you're steering it by leaning side to side. And again, the wind is probably going to be a large part of where you end up going, kind of like the hot air balloon. But there's no engine. You just go, and it slowly, gently, nicely brings you down to the ground. That's pretty crazy. I think I prefer flying in something with an engine. That's just me. Now, let's take a look at something with an engine. Remember earlier when we talked about airplanes? This is a seaplane. Now, we're going to talk about, in other episodes, ways of getting around, modes of transportation in the ocean, on sea, and the water, and also on land. This is an airplane that can land on water. Wow, that's pretty cool. So if you're flying, maybe somewhere on a lake or up in Alaska, you might have to land in the ocean or lake somewhere. This is an airplane that can land on water, and it can also take off from water. Well, that's pretty neat. Well, that's really helpful if you're flying into somewhere that doesn't have a lot of land with a runway for a regular airplane, maybe a lot of mountains around it, but it has a big lake. So that's a really good way for people who live there to maybe get food brought to them, or if they have to get out for some reason. But very quickly, they can use a seaplane. Our next mode of air transportation is a blimp. Look at that big guy. Sometimes you'll see a blimp over a sporting event. It kind of hovers around. The air inside the blimp keeps it up like a hot air balloon, but this actually has propellers where it can guide the blimp in a certain direction. So a lot of times you might see them over a sporting event so you can get nice aerial pictures of the stadium. The last mode of air transportation that we are going to talk about today on this episode is a jet. Wow, jets are fast. Now, the airplanes that we ride in, that we talked about in the very beginning to get from one place to another, those have jet engines. They're technically jets too, but I'm talking about the kind of jet that maybe someone in the military would fly. Fast jets where only one or two pilots are in it and no passengers. These things can move fast. That is a jet. Maybe sometimes you'll see them doing tricks if you're at like a carnival or a fair or over a sporting event when they do the national anthem. They move fast and they're loud too. They're so cool. That is a jet. I like jets. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this episode today where we talked about all different ways that you can travel in the air. Some, like airplanes, can make you go forward, and some, like helicopters, can make you go forward or backwards. Some have engines, some don't. Some have wings, others don't. So many different ways that you can get from here to there through the air, and even a rocket to all the way to outer space. Well, I had a great time with you guys today. Check out our other episodes that we'll have about land and sea transportation. And I'll see you guys next time on the Mr. Nyck Show. Bye! Hey everybody, welcome to the Mr. Nyck Show, and I'm your host, Mr. Nyck. Today, we are going to be talking all about vehicles that can get you from here to there on the land. The first vehicle we are going to talk about is one that you probably know very well. A car. You've been in a car before, right? Yeah, cars can either have 2 doors or 4 doors. They have a steering wheel that you can turn to go left or right, and they have 4 wheels. Most people have a car to get around town, and that's how we get from here to there on land. Also, if you don't have a car, maybe you have a truck. A truck is a lot like a car, but generally it's a little bit bigger. And maybe it has a bed in the back. Not a bed that you sleep on, that's silly. But a bed where you can put things bigger than a car's trunk. That's usually what you would see in a truck. Like I said, a car and a truck have 4 wheels. But let's talk about something that only has 2 wheels. A motorcycle. Yeah, a motorcycle is another way that you can drive around on land. It has 2 wheels. And, interesting, a motorcycle has to keep moving. It can't sit still for very long because if it does, the engine can overheat. So have you ever been stuck in traffic and seen a motorcycle driving between the cars? Weaving in and out maybe? That's because it can't sit there like a regular car can, or else the engine will get too hot and the motorcycle can break. And like cars and trucks, motorcycles can come in different sizes. Some can be kind of big, and you can maybe put 2 people on them. And some are maybe a little bit smaller, little thinner, and they can go really, really fast. Yeah, lots of different types of motorcycles. And do you know what else has 2 wheels that you can ride on? A bicycle or a bike. Same thing. Have you ever been on a bike? Well, maybe you've had training wheels on it, or maybe you've ridden a tricycle that has 3 wheels. Yeah, a bicycle, like a motorcycle, has 2 wheels, but it doesn't have a motor. You have to use your feet to pedal the bicycle in order to get from here to there. I like riding a bike. Do you? Yeah. So sometimes you'll start off with a tricycle and then a bicycle with training wheels, and then you'll learn to ride a bike without training wheels. You may not be there yet, but keep working at it. You will be someday. Another vehicle that you can use with your feet is a scooter. Yeah, have you ever seen a scooter before? Have you ever been on one? 2 wheels and handlebars. It looks like a skateboard, but it has little handle grips to hold on to, and you push yourself along with your foot and hold on tight so you don't fall off. It's kind of like a bicycle, but there's no pedals. You actually push yourself on the ground with one foot while standing on the scooter with the other foot. And then you can put both feet on the scooter and go whee! Pretty fun. Now, so far, we have only talked about vehicles that you would either use by yourself or maybe a few other people like family or friends. But there are some vehicles you can use to get around on the land that may have a lot of people in it, like a bus. Have you ever been on a bus before? A bus can hold a lot of people, and it drives you from one place to another. It has a bus driver. That's the person whose job it is to drive the bus. And that person has to have a special license to give them permission to drive that bus. Your mom or dad probably couldn't just get on that bus and start driving it. That has to be the bus driver. There's different types of bus, like a school bus, and there's also the municipal bus that can drive you around bus stops of the city. Yeah, a bus is a way that you can get from here to there on land with a lot of people who you may not even know. That's interesting. Now, like a car or a truck, a bus has wheels and tires, and they move with the use of a steering wheel that the driver turns. Let's talk about another vehicle that can carry a lot of people at once, but it's a little different. It's a train. A train actually does have wheels, but they're on a track. They're on the train track. So in a car or a truck or a bus, the driver turns the steering wheel to go left or right. But on a train, there is no steering wheel. The wheels don't turn. The track turns. So if the track curves to the right, the train follows the track to the right. And if the track curves to the left, the train follows the track to the left. There's no tires. There's no steering wheel. The wheels are directly on the track. And the track is pre-laid and determines where the train is going. Have you ever been on a train? Do you know what a train horn sounds like? I do. Ready? Choo-choo! Yeah, that's what a train horn sounds like. Well, I have had a lot of fun talking about different types of vehicles that can get you around from here to there on land. We've talked about cars and trucks, and we've also talked about trains and buses. Cars and trucks can only get a few people around, while trains and buses can get many, many people around. And we even talked about bicycles and scooters, things that you have to use your own legs and feet in order to move because there are no engines. And we even talked about a motorcycle, which is pretty cool in its own right. Yeah, I hope you guys had a lot of fun today because I know I did. Go check out our other episode that we did talking about different types of vehicles that can get you around up in the air. And we'll have another one coming soon that will tell you all about vehicles that can get you from here to there in the water. And so you don't miss those episodes, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you can see all of the fun episodes that we're doing on the Mr. Nyck Show. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye! Hey everybody, welcome to the Mr. Nyck Show, and I'm your host, Mr. Nyck. Today, we are going to be talking about water transportation. Yeah, we're going to talk about all the different ways that you can get from here to there on water and even underwater. The most common way for somebody to travel on water is in a boat. But there are a few different kinds of boats. Let's talk about a speedboat. Whoa, look how fast a speedboat can go across the water. They're pretty fun. Oh man, they can travel fast. Another type of boat that maybe isn't as fast is a rowboat. A speedboat has a motor that can make you go, but a rowboat doesn't have a motor. You have to use oars, which are big paddles. And you, the person in the rowboat, has to row in order to make the boat go. You don't go as fast, but it can be fun, and it's really good exercise. And another type of boat is a sailboat. So if a motorboat or a speedboat has an engine that makes you go, and the rowboat, you inside the boat have to use your energy to make the boat go, a sailboat uses the wind to help it go. You put up these big sails, the wind pushes into the sail, and it helps move the boat. Now, most boats can hold more than one person. Some of them can hold quite a few people. But now let's talk about canoes and kayaks. A canoe or kayak usually only holds 1 or 2 people. Now, the difference between a canoe and a kayak is that a kayak is generally covered on top with one space for the person who's paddling to sit, and a canoe is more open on top. And another difference is that a person in a kayak uses a paddle with 2 blades to help them paddle, where traditionally someone in a canoe has a paddle with 1 blade on it that they would move from one side over to the other depending upon which way they're trying to steer the canoe. Another difference between canoes and kayaks versus boats is that most of the time boats are going to be used either in the ocean or on a lake or maybe on a very, very big river. But a canoe or kayak, since they are smaller, can be used on smaller rivers. So you might get somewhere where it's white water rapids, and you're going down, having fun on the canoe, and you're going splish and a splash, and whoa, don't tip over. Yeah, you can do that in a canoe or kayak, and that's pretty fun. You can't do that in a boat. And speaking of white water rapids, another mode of transportation you can use on the water is a raft. Now, a raft can be used as any type of flotation device, but when you're doing it in a river with white water rapids, it can be so crazy and fun. And you can fit quite a few people in there, maybe like 6, maybe even 8, depending how big the raft is. It's so fun. Whoa, whitewater rapids, dude, don't flip over. So cool. That is a raft. Now you can use a raft, like I said, anywhere on water because it floats. That's important, but if you use it in a white water rapid river, so fun. Now, so far, the only mode of transportation that we've talked about that has an engine is a boat with an engine, like maybe a speedboat. Everything else we've talked about so far, you have to use your own energy or the wind's energy to make you move. How about a jet ski? That has an engine. It's like riding a motorcycle on water. You would ride a jet ski in a lake or maybe out in the ocean. A jet ski can really go fast and the engine propels you through the water. It's a lot of fun, but usually an adult has to be in control of that. You don't want to be driving that around as a kid. Not safe. I think you need a driver's license, but it's like riding a motorcycle in the water. That is a jet ski. Now, so far, we've been talking about some pretty relatively small objects here for riding in the water. But now let's talk about a ship. There are several different types of ships. First, let's talk about a cruise ship. Have you ever been on a cruise ship? It's like a floating hotel in the water. So cool. A cruise ship has all these different rooms like a hotel, and it can take you all around the world. You wake up one day in one place, go have fun, get back on the ship, go to sleep, and then wake up somewhere totally new the next day. Another type of ship is a cargo ship. This helps get different types of materials and items from one place in the world all the way across the ocean to another place in the world. This is how we get so many things that we purchase from one place to another where we live. And let's talk about another ship. How about an older type of ship that explorers and travelers used to use? Hey, look at the sails. Remember these from the sailboat? Ships used to use sails too before they had engines. That's how explorers would get around from one place to another. They had these ships with massive, huge sails. That's pretty neat. Now, so far, we've only talked about objects that can get you around on top of the water. But did you know that there's something that can get you around underwater? It's called a submarine. Sub means under and marine means water. A submarine is used in the military so that people in the military can get around on water without being spotted on the water. So they're a little sneaky. It helps them, get around without the other side seeing them so easily. Yeah, that's a submarine and it can fit a lot of people in there. Could you imagine being underwater? They could be there for months. Yeah, it's a very long time. It's pretty cool, a submarine. And another mode of water transportation that can hold a lot of people but is above the water is a water taxi or a ferry. It's kind of like a bus, but it's on the water. So people can use a water taxi or a ferry to get across a body of water. So maybe a lake or the bay, something that's pretty large, but not too large like the ocean. That's a water taxi, or also known as a ferry. Now I want to talk about one more thing that can help you get around in the water. And it's not something that you can get on or get in, but it's something that you put on. Swim flippers! What are swim flippers? They go on your feet and they help you swim faster. When you kick your feet while wearing swim flippers, it pushes more water with each kick, which makes you go further and faster when you're swimming. And let's put on a snorkel. A snorkel can help you breathe while underwater. It covers your eyes with the protective goggles, and the tube here, the snorkel, helps you breathe so you don't have to take your time lifting your head out of the water every single time you want to take a breath. Swim flippers and a snorkel with goggles are very helpful when it comes to swimming faster and more efficiently. Well, I had a lot of fun talking about all the different ways that you can get around in water. Some of them have motors, some of them use the wind, and some of them you have to use your own energy to get moving. I really enjoyed talking with you guys today, and I hope you liked it too. If you did, give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, and hit subscribe so you see all the fun episodes that we're doing on the Mr. Nyck Show. I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye!
Mr. Nyck, he's our pig. It's Mr. Nyck. Yay!